Welcome to In the Zone with Anthony, yours truly, on a Saturday evening, bringing you the latest in all the sports news, recapping things that have happened locally, regionally, statewide possibly, most definitely nationally. For today's show, we start with a little bit of sad news, remembering a coaching legend in Wichita area. The man that will be laid to rest, I had the opportunity to meet him. I was a senior at West High School, and he was the assistant coach under a guy by the name of Mike Bonzik at West High. Later on, he was on the coaching staff at Wichita State under Mike Cohen. But he made his return back to the coaching ranks in the G-Wall, or as we pretty much call it, the City League, by taking on that East High program. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start this off by looking behind the legend, a look back at the life of beloved basketball coach Ron Allen, a man who I could say that I was definitely blessed to have met and have known. Beloved former City League basketball coach Ron Allen passed away at the age of 71 on Thursday. As a student athlete and coach, Ron's career was one of breaking barriers. He was the first black basketball player at Southeast High School in Wichita, and went on to play under the first black coach at the University of Arizona basketball program. While Allen was afforded many coaching opportunities throughout his life, he knew at heart Wichita would always be home and where he would forever want to make a difference, and that I can truly say he did. The biggest knock against me that I've heard was, I keep kids that other coaches don't keep, Ron said during a January 2021 interview with KSN News. It was a rare gift that came naturally to the coach, helping each athlete he took under his wing discover their true potential. Everybody at the school might have not liked the kid, but he seen something in him, and just having him, that kid around the program, even if he's just the manager, it just saved his life, A.J. Allen, Ron Allen's son, said. Ron Allen led East High to 2 state championships, forever cementing his place as a coaching legend. Coach Allen was a gentleman's gentleman, a competitor's competitor, one of the most important figures in the history of the City League, Wichita Heights boys basketball coach Joe Hour said. His teams always played hard, Cape Mount Carmel boys basketball head coach Steve Eck said. He was a great person to talk to. He's easy to talk to. He always told me to smile more. Everyone knew Coach Allen, and it's a sad, sad day. Hour said Allen was a mentor to him and a man who always led by example. He always knew that we were part of something that had a long history that was much bigger than ourselves. And if I had a question, he was always there for me, Hour said. I'm forever indebted to the example he set. A.J. Allen says his father always put his family first and treated each of his players like his own sons. Everyone just loved him because he was just a ball of energy, A.J. Allen said. His own sons are now basketball coaches themselves, carrying on their father's legacy. I was just blessed to be able to get the life lesson on the court and at home, A.J. Allen said. He's in a better place, and he finished the ultimate game, and he won. Ron Allen won more than 300 games in his 20-year-long career as a coach. He was inducted into Wichita Sports Hall of Fame in 2015. So that was a look back at Coach Ron Allen. And to say that he made an impact is almost like an understatement. The the lives of the people that he's touched. Last time I remember seeing him, it wasn't uncommon to see Ron Allen out in public, enjoying the fact that he didn't have to coach no more, enjoying life. Sometimes I'd be out at Bradley Fair, which is one of my go-to places as a avid jazz lover. Sometimes I would see him out there just strolling along, enjoying the sights and the sounds of good jazz music. I know one of the last times for sure that I saw Coach Allen, it was during COVID season. And anybody that knows Coach Ron Allen, if you don't see him, his full face, because we were in masks, you know that Coach Allen has a certain walk about himself. Like, that's Coach Allen. And we were in Dillon's, and I'm looking at this man. I'm like, that looks like Coach Allen under that mask. So I kind of paused. I stopped. I said, aren't you a former basketball coach? And I have to tell you this. One of the things I remember, because when you approach someone who is coaching or has coached, you never stop calling them coach. It's almost as equally important as running up on them and saying, hey, sir, how you doing? It's that respect. And I'm going to tell you how I learned that respect, and I'm going to get back to Coach Allen. I was in a PE class at Wilbur Junior High. So, see, I'm telling my age because we called it junior high at the time. And there was a coach. You see, I'm still calling him coach. I'm not going to even tell you his first name. But those of you who went to school with me during that era knew him as Coach Nash. And I got beside myself, or as my dad would say, I was getting a little bit big for my britches. I started addressing Coach Nash by his first name. And I'm still not going to tell you his first name unless you know him personally. And he just always had a gesture about himself when he heard his name, just like a head nod, like, I hear you. Not knowing that he was just letting this build up. Until one day we was hoorahing when the cheerleaders came through the boys' locker room area, and we were just making all the noise what little young boys do when we get excited because of what we see. And he came in there and shut that all down. Then he singled me out and said, Smith, you're going to get in trouble about calling me out by my first name. He said, next gym class, we're having cake and ice cream. I'm thinking, okay, we're going to have some cake and ice cream in gym class. He even had the audacity to ask Coach, hey, Coach, when we having that cake and ice cream? Not knowing that cake and ice cream, by the time he decided to have it and called us out the clear blue, was basically boot camp. So back to Coach Allen. When I seen him, I'm like, aren't you Coach Allen? Because it's that respect. It's that endearment. You're like, yeah, how'd you? I said, Coach, I was in your gym class. I've never forgotten the man. And he was shocked that I could recognize him up under the mask. It just goes back. Coach had a certain walk about himself, and you just knew that was Coach Allen. Great man, a man that will definitely be missed around here. In some more news, I am going to also look at Wichita Eagles 2022 Kansas High School Football All-State top 33 players. And after I do this, we're going to go to a break. And when I come back, I will have some more news for you. But we're going to take a look at Wichita Eagles 2022 Kansas High School Football All-State top 33 players. So the Wichita Eagle has released its annual top 33 list, which recognizes the best players in Kansas high school football from the 2022 season. Mays senior quarterback Avery Johnson was named the Offensive Player of the Year. Andale senior linebacker Riley Marks was named the Defensive Player of the Year. And Andale coach Dylan Schmidt was named Coach of the Year. The Eagle also released its complete Kansas high school football all-state teams for every class on Friday. So the top 11 players: Mark Armstrong, Bishop Miege quarterback, 5'11", 170-pound senior, threw for 3,495 yards and 36 touchdowns to earn the Offensive Player of the Year in the Eastern Kansas League while leading Bishop Miege to the Class 4A state championship. Mickey Bergeron from Mill Valley, defensive back, 6'2", 195-pound senior, finished with 64 tackles and 3 tackles to spearhead a defense that propelled Mill Valley to its fourth straight Class 5A state championship. Zach Darch, Blue Valley West, quarterback, linebacker, 6'2", 210-pound senior, a Penn commit and rare two-way star at the Class 6A level, made 102 tackles, including 11 for loss, at linebacker to earn Defensive Player of the Year honors in the Eastern Kansas League, while also tallying 1,547 total yards and 21 touchdowns at quarterback. Dylan Edwards, Derby, running back, 5'9", 165-pound senior, a two-time top 11 selection and Colorado commit who finished with 1,900 rushing yards, 227 receiving yards, 279 return yards, and 37 total touchdowns to lead Derby back to the Class 6A semifinals. Cooper Hajek, Nemaha Central, running back, linebacker, 6'2", 230-pound senior, the two-way star who led Nemaha Central to a perfect 13-0 record in Class 2A state championship as he finished with 2,094 rushing yards and 43 touchdowns on offense and totaled 80 tackles, 2 sacks, and an interception on defense. Keller Hurler, St. Mary's quarterback, 6 foot, 170-pound senior, a star gunslinger who led St. Mary's to a Class 1A state championship behind 2,096 passing yards, 960 rushing yards, and 42 total touchdowns on offense. Avery Johnson, Mays QB, 6'3", 175-pound senior, a two-time top 11 pick committed to play quarterback at Kansas State, who led Mays to a second straight Class 5A state title appearance behind 2,768 passing yards, 817 rushing yards, and 44 total touchdowns with just 3 interceptions. Jack Krause, Andale, offensive lineman, defensive lineman, 5'10", 240-pound senior, a dominant force on the line on both sides of the ball for an Andale team that won its fourth straight Class 3A state championship with brute force. Riley Marks, Andale, running back, linebacker, 6'1", 220-pound senior, the most important two-way player for Andale during its 51-game winning streak and 4-year Class 3A title run, who was near impossible to bring down at fullback and near impossible to block at linebacker. Joe Otting, Topeka Hayden, offensive line, defensive line, 6'5", 280-pound senior, a Notre Dame commit with a reputation as one of the best offensive linemen to come out of Kansas in many years and was a dominant force at guard for the Wildcats. So what I'm going to do right here, because the list is rather long, I am going to pause right here and take a break. And when I come back, I will give you more of this list. You're in the zone with Anthony, so don't you dare go nowhere. Be right back. Welcome back to In the Zone with yours truly, Anthony Smith. Sorry about the long music bed there. Sometimes those things do happen. But we're back for this next segment here, and we're going to round out this top 11. I should just went ahead and gave you the top 11 first. There is one more to give you. Then I'm just going to read the names of the next set of 11 or next set of 22. Bring that up to 33. So let's just get on back into this list here. And we're going to move on to some more news as well, too. So rounding out the top 11, we have Keenan Sharps, Manhattan QB. 5'10", 165-pound senior. The star dual threat quarterback who guided Manhattan to a perfect 13-0 record and Class 6A state championship behind 1,344 passing yards, 1,148 rushing yards, and 30 total touchdowns. So there's your top 11, and it will be interesting to see where some of them, especially those who are seniors, end up making their next destination as far as their choice of college. Some may go the small college route, some may go the junior college route to get to that Division I level. So now looking at the second 11, you have Jordan Allen, Olathe South, tight end linebacker, 6'4", 240 senior. Camden Beebe, Kansas City Piper, offensive lineman, 6'4", 310-pound senior. Isaac Detweiler, Axtell quarterback, 5'11", 180-pound senior. And if I'm correct, I may be wrong, but if I'm correct, Axtell, I do believe, is 8-man football. I may be wrong. Also, Amari Elias, Cape and Mount Carmel, running back, 5'11", 190-pound junior. Be on the lookout for him. I'm pretty sure he is probably getting some looks right now. He is a talented back out there at Cape and Mount Carmel, and I'm pretty sure Coach Weston Sharps is happy to have him. Caden Miranda, Mays, defensive lineman, 6', 245-pound senior. Malik Oadas, Shawnee Mission Northwest, running back, 5'10", 170-pound senior. Trey Richardson, Highland Park wide receiver, 5'10", 170-pound senior. Grady Seifert from Beloit, offensive lineman, defensive lineman, 6'2", 270-pound senior. Jeff Vincent, Canton Galva, running back, defensive back, 6'3", 180-pound senior. Ty Weber, Washburn Rural, linebacker, 6'3", 230-pound senior. Brock Worcester, Mill Valley, linebacker, 6', 210-pound senior. And now for the third 11. Dylan Burge, Olathe West offensive lineman, 6'2", 280-pound senior. Eli Brunk Inman, tight end linebacker, 6'3", 190-pound senior. Sean Carroll, St. Thomas Aquinas, running back, 6 foot, 215-pound senior. Calvin Clements, Lawrence Free State offensive lineman, 6'8", 285-pound senior. Be interesting to see where he ends up going to. Nolan Frund, Kingman, quarterback, defensive back, 6 foot, 190-pound senior. Eric Hermosillo, Wichita County, quarterback, defensive back, 5'8", 140-pound senior. Braden Kuntz, Conway Springs, running back, linebacker, 6'2", 195-pound junior. And, let me see, L.J. Phillips, Wichita Northwest, running back, 5'9", 200-pound senior. Ty Smith, Circle, wide receiver, defensive back, 6'1", 175-pound senior. Grant Stevens, Little River, tight end, defensive lineman, 5'10", 190-pound senior. Miles Wash, Derby, linebacker, 5'11", 215-pound senior. So there you have the Wichita Eagle, top 33 in the state of Kansas. Like I said, highly senior-laden class there. There's a few juniors, some that will be back, but a lot of seniors, and it will be very interesting to see where they go, and hopefully we can track them and see how their college careers is turning out. And that is not all the news that we have, as we have some more news that is shaping things up, as we will go on to a very interesting story as we go nationally. Looking on the national scene. A story that caught my attention because even I didn't know this. But it's coming out of Jackson State. Says, yes, Roger Goodell has a nephew at Jackson State. So Roger Goodell confused everyone when he showed up to Jackson State's bowl game to support his nephew. Did you just say his nephew? Yes, his nephew. So Roger Goodell confused the entire internet when he showed up at Jackson State's Celebration Bowl appearance Saturday. There were only a few reasons that immediately came to mind for this. The first was maybe he was there to support Deion Sanders in his last game at the prestigious historically black university. They're buds, right? That's totally plausible considering Sanders is making a beeline for Colorado right after this game. Or maybe this could have been a scouting trip for Goodell. Nah, that can't be right. He's a commissioner, not a scout. Come on, Sykes. To be fair to me here, though, there wasn't a person in the world who could have guessed what the correct answer actually was. As it turns out, Roger Goodell actually has a nephew who goes to Jackson State. No, seriously. This is not a bit. He really has a nephew who goes to Jackson State. And yes, his nephew is black. His name is Charlton Goodell, and he's a sophomore at Jackson State. Roger gave him a big hug on the sidelines, You should recognize that hug too. It's the same hug he gives to the number one draft pick every year. Clearly, Charlton is number one in his heart. And there is, might be able to pull this off, some audio here as it shows Goodell.
Side of the break. Meanwhile, if you're just tuning in, Commissioner hugs, love. His team, though, Jackson State, his nephew playing for him, down by 3.
So, yes, you heard it right there. That audio was of Roger Goodell giving his nephew Charlton a hug. So nobody can blame you for missing this back in 2020 with, well, you know, waves hands wildly in the air. But Goodell did an interview where he talked about Charlton, or Charlie, as he calls him, Fox Sports' Emmanuel Acho. He's one of his younger brother's adopted kids. That's a pretty neat thing. You absolutely love to see family thriving. But still, everyone was just a tad bit confused by what they just learned. It felt like the simulation simulated a little too hard. Some of the tweets that went out, they said Roger Goodell's nephew plays for Jackson State, and I thought it was a bit, but it turns out Roger Goodell's nephew plays for Jackson State. That's coming from Roger Sherman at Roger. Don, who's at _Don Montgomery. Whole time y'all was talking about that man leaving when Roger Goodell has a nephew on the team that no one even mentioned. With the smiley face emoji, hashtag Celebration Bowl. So yes, Roger Goodell confused some people by showing up to the Celebration Bowl, but he was there to support his nephew. As a matter of fact, here's some more tweets from Brandon Caldwell at _Brandock. America as a whole realizing Roger Goodell has a black nephew. Here's another tweet. Shades of Michael Beasley with enemy plot armor from at Terra Toronto. Well, whoever it's from is at TERRANOVA capital NOAH. Roger Goodell having a nephew that plays football at Jackson State was not on my bingo card. Why would I take the time to read some of these tweets? Because some of them could just be downright hilarious. Like this one right here from Fat Boy at MSPU_1911. So now JSU got Roger Goodell nephew. And you telling me no JU's leaked that information before today? Anthony B at AYEE Barkley. Me seeing Roger Goodell's nephew and some of the facial expressions that these people are putting on here, and this is going to be the last one I read. From Fred, in parentheses 7-5-1 at Fred 314 _ Roger Goodell having a nephew at Jackson State is one of the biggest plot twists of the year. Right, laughable. Anyway, what I'm going to do now, I am going to take another break. And when I come back, I will have some more news for you. Maybe not as much fun, but we're going to still be locked in the zone. So don't you dare go nowhere, because there is so much more to come right here in the zone with yours truly, Anthony Smith. Welcome back to In the Zone with yours truly, Anthony Smith. I am delighted to have you here. And when I tell you, I try to bring you the most comprehensive sports information, whether it be locally, statewide, regionally, nationally. That's what I aim to do, including highlights. And today was a game that you could have seen on one of the ESPN networks. It was SWAC versus the MEAC in the Celebration Bowl. North Carolina Central against Jackson State University. Deion Sanders' final game coaching, trying to cap off a perfect season en route to Colorado. So just how did that turn out? Well, we shall find out.
Here it is, heaving it up in the end zone, trying to he makes the catch! Touchdown! Jackson State!
He's incredible.
No seconds left on the clock. Extra point is good. We're going to overtime. They run it again. Collier once more. Stiff arms and push it down. Campbell
Mookie. Defense. I mean, look at this.
What's
look at that. You know, the best stiff arm of all time running back.
The surge ahead, and it's a touchdown. So Central got the ball first, scores first in the overtime period.
Let me give it up.
Okay, go ahead.
I said I want to see how tough they were mentally. Take a look at this. When he gets hit initially, sideways, he's on somebody's back.
With just 1 second, it expired before he got it off. Shilo Sanders looking, and that's it. Ball game. North Carolina Central ascends to the top of the HBCU mountain. They are your 2022 HBCU national champions.
M&M's Minis.
Yep, you heard that right.
Hey, it's me, your skin. Some cleansers get us clean, but take my moisture.
Once again, Jackson State came up short where it counted the most in the Celebration Bowl. But you still can't take away the fact that it was a good season. So now it's time for everybody to move forward. And in moving forward, basically what that means is the era without Deion Sanders now begins at Jackson State, while the Deion Sanders era at Colorado begins, as if it hasn't already started. So one of the other things I also want to look at, because a lot has been made about his son, Shilo Sanders, and where does he plan on going next year? And there is a report out that says that he is now put his name in the transfer portal. And it does state that Jackson State safety Shilo Sanders enters the NCAA transfer portal. Jackson State safety Shilo Sanders entered the transfer portal. On 3's Matt Knitz reported. The son of newly hired Colorado coach Deion Sanders, Shilo originally committed to South Carolina out of high school before transferring to play for his father at Jackson State in 2021. Shilo Sanders ranked as the number 57 safety and number 584 overall player in the 2019 class, according to On3 consensus coming out of Trinity Christian School in Texas. He redshirted his true freshman season at South Carolina, meaning he will have 2 seasons of eligibility remaining going forward. In his first year at Jackson State, Shilo Sanders tied for second in the SWAC with 4 interceptions to go along with 39 tackles, 7 passes defended, and 2 forced fumbles. He was also named a second-team All-SWAC selection that season. Sanders suffered an ACL injury that kept him out to start this season, but eventually made his debut on October 15th. So far, he has played in 6 games, recording 15 tackles, 1 interception, and 5 passes defended. Now, there is some background information on the transfer portal to keep in mind as Shilo Sanders makes his decision. Transfer portal background information. NCAA transfer portal, which covers every NCAA sport at the Division 1, 2, and 3 levels, is a private database with names of student athletes who wish to transfer. It is not accessible to the public. The process of entering the portal is done through a school's compliance office. Once a player provides written notification of an intent to transfer, the office enters the names in the database and everything's off and running. The compliance office has 48 hours to comply with the player's request, and that request cannot be refused. Once a player's name shows up in the portal, other schools can contact the player. Players can change their minds at any point and withdraw from the portal. However, once a player enters the portal, the current scholarship is no longer has to be honored. In other words, if a player enters the portal but decides to stay, the school is not obligated to provide a scholarship anymore. The database is a normal database, sortable by a variety of topics, including, of course, sport and name. A player's individual entry includes basic details such as contact info, whether the player was on scholarship, and whether the player is transferring as a graduate assistant. A player can ask that a do not contact tag be placed on the report. In those instances, the players don't want to be contacted by schools unless they've initiated the communication. The portal has been around since October 15th, 2018, and the new calendar cycle in the portal begins each August. For example, the 2021-22 cycle started August 1st. During the 2020-21 cycle, 2,626 FBS football players entered the transfer portal, including walk-ons. That comes after 1,681 entered during the 2019-20 cycle and 1,709 during the abbreviated 2018-19 cycle. In comparison, 1,833 Division I basketball players entered the portal during the 2020-21 cycle, after totals of 1,020 in 2019-20 and 1,063 in 2018-19. So there you have some news on Shilo Sanders. Where he goes next, we are not privy to that information, as I'm pretty sure all this is news is fresh news just recently after the conclusion of the Celebration Bowl, in which Jackson State came up short in overtime. But I'm going to throw this out there. Do you think Shilo is just testing the market to see where he could go? Because after all, it is a market. Will he end up going to Colorado to play with his brothers and his dad? Or since he's well vested in Jackson State, including with the band and out in the community, does he return back to Jackson State? Right now, it's hard to tell. And right now, I know after an emotionally draining game, you're really not going to get an answer until maybe weeks, maybe months. But if I had a gut feeling based off of the vibe that he has in Jackson, Mississippi, I wouldn't be surprised if he etches to go out on his own and say, you know what, I'm going to stay a Tiger. I wish my dad and my brothers the best of luck at Colorado, but I'm going to stay here in Jackson State. I like the community here. I like the vibe on campus. I like the band. I mean, there's a lot that he's well invested in Jackson community. In Jackson, Mississippi. Excuse me. So we will be following that story as well. Well, I hope you have enjoyed today's version of In the Zone. Please feel free to reach out to me. Content, ideas, whatnot. Some people I'll be looking to get on to my podcast. As a matter of fact, I said, well, I haven't said it, but most times when you hear the music and the way I'm leading out, you would think that this is the end. But there is something else I want to talk about. I want to talk about Wichita State Basketball. So what I'm going to do, you hear the music playing in the background, that means I'm going to a break. When I come back, I will wrap it up talking about Wichita State Basketball because there are some things that I know the general public is kind of down on. So I want to talk about the game tonight that they played against Oklahoma State. What they can do moving forward. So stay tuned to In the Zone. Don't you dare go nowhere. I will be right back. Wrap up on Wichita State. This is In the Zone with Anthony Smith. Welcome back to In the Zone with Anthony Smith. One of the best podcasts throughout the state of Kansas. Yes, I'm claiming that one as well, too. Because I'm going to touch up on all bases. Local, state, regional, national. And I'm going to end up right back here locally because I'm talking a little bit of Wichita State on my way out. Coming off the Associated Press wire, as I had a chance to listen to the game myself, and Thompson lifts Oklahoma State over Wichita State 59-49. Ouch, wait a minute, 49? I went to junior high, Wilbur Junior High. The JV team could score more than 49 points. Anyway, Bryce Thompson made a career high 5 3-pointers and scored 19 points. And Oklahoma State beat Wichita State 59-49 on Saturday night. Right there, Wichita State is known for its defense, so they held Oklahoma State to 59. And if you look at some of the stats, which I will get to, you would think that Wichita State might have won this game. They only hung up 49 points. I'm going to get to why they only put up 49 points. Thompson made a 3-pointer, and Tyreek Smith made consecutive jumpers to give the Cowboys their largest lead, 50-36. midway through second half. Thompson's three made it 53-42 with 6:30 to play before Melvion Flanagan hit a pull-up jumper and two free throws. And Jaquan Walton added two more from the free throw line to pull the Shockers within 53-48 with 1 minute 37 left. Cowboys iced it from there, shooting 6 of 6 from the line. Thompson was 7 of 17 from the field and had 5 assists. John Michael Wright added 16 points with 4 3-pointers for Oklahoma State, who is now 7-4. Craig Porter Jr. scored 14 points for Wichita State, which dropped to 6-5. Which shot 36.5% overall, which sounds like that's not that bad on 19 of 52. But missed 20 of 21 shots from long range. In other words, 1 of 21 from 3-point range. My question is, at what point do you stop shooting those 3-point shots? I know Oklahoma State is an in-your-face defensive team, but you have to find ways to get the ball to the rim, get the old-fashioned three. That's the biggest thing I've been harping on. Because whatever you did in the past few games to bring your 3-point shooting percentage up, this is going to make it plummet colder than the temperature is here in Wichita right now as we speak. Oklahoma State returns to play Texas A&M Corpus Christi on Tuesday before opening Big 12 conference play at number 8 Kansas on New Year's Eve. Wichita State wraps up a 4-game homestand Wednesday against Texas Southern. So now what I want to do, I want to go to stat line. And I know it's going to be very hard to bear. But I have to bring it up, see just how we really lost this game. Because stats tell everything. And we are bringing those stats up right now. So, the team stats. Oklahoma State was 19 of 48 for 39.6%. Wichita State was 19 of 52 for 36.5%. 3-point shooting. Oklahoma State was 9 of 23 for 39.1%. Wichita State, 1 for 21. 4.8 freaking 8% from 3-point line. Dang it, man. Stop shooting the 3-ball. You have proven to the whole basketball nation that you are not a 3-point shooting team. And the sad thing is teams are willing to let you shoot the 3-point ball because basically the theory goes like this. You live by the 3. You horribly die by the 3. The question now remains is this coaching or is this on the players? Because I shouldn't say this. I shouldn't give these people any plug in my podcast, but since I'm on there with some of these people, the group called Shocker Unfiltered. That group may as well be they may as well rename that to the Fire Isaac Brown chat group because now, without me even looking, the comments are just how bad of a coach is Isaac Brown. Isaac Brown is not the one out there shooting 1 for 21. That's the players. So y'all need to get off of that right now. There's also another shocker chat room. That group is a little bit more civilized. As a matter of fact, Craig Porter Jr.'s mom is in that chat room, and I hope to get her on here because I'm pretty sure she has some insight into Wichita State basketball because her son does play. She knows how these guys feel when they end up losing the game. And there's actually some, whether you want to believe it or not, there's some talent on this team. But what y'all can't do as Shocker fans is y'all can't sit here and say, well, look at what Kansas State is doing. What Kansas State is doing is what Kansas State is doing. If you want to look at what K-State is doing, someone tells me to tell you, go cheer for Kansas State. If you are a Wichita State fan, yes, you hate losing. A culture was built. But can I share something with you? Isaac Brown won his first year. They fell off a little bit in his second year, but they still had a winning record. They were one game over 500. So that's 2 back-to-back winning seasons for the coach. Granted, they took it on the chin tonight, but their record is still 6-5. They're above 500. No, I do not believe in no moral victories. But his record speaks for itself. Isaac Brown has not had a losing season at Wichita State yet. So I say, support the team and root for the coach's success. If they get this figured out. But yes, tonight, this one, is ugly. Let me go back. Oklahoma State, 9 of 23 from the three-point line for 39.1%. Wichita State, 1 of 21, 4.8%. Free throws, 12 of 15 for Oklahoma State, 80%. 10 of 15. See, once again, we have to do a better job at getting to the free throw line and making free throws. Although 10 of 15 is not bad, 10 of 15 is not the greatest either. That's 66.7%. Then we look at the other stats, the other components, what makes a difference in games. We got out-rebounded 35-27. They had 7 offensive rebounds. We had 5. Here's another glaring stat that will stand out. 14 assists for Oklahoma State to only 4 Wichita State. Oklahoma State had 4 blocks. We had 3 blocks. The steals were even, 6 apiece. We turned them over 14 times. They turned us over 11 times. Personal fouls was even at 13 apiece. So there are some things that definitely have to that Wichita State definitely has to clean up. And one of them is the three-point shooting. Yes, I know they made double-digit figures in their last game, but that doesn't count. This is this game. And if you see something isn't working, you need to do something different. That's when you have to execute your drive to the basket. The worst case scenario is you get called for a charge. Other case scenario is you go to the basket hard, they try to stop you, they foul you. Possibly an and one. So no, all this is not on coaching. Some of this is on players. And the players just have to figure it out. Hey, the three-point shot isn't working. Who do we have that's, like I say, this team does have some athletic players on their team who I think if they use their athleticism, and I just have to say it like this, sometimes you have to respect your coach, but at the same time, sometimes you have to just tune out because you're the one that's out there on that court and you see what's going on. Break your man down on the dribble and take him to the basket. Sometimes you might have to just play street ball and then organize within the confines of the team offense. One thing I will say is I like this Melvion Flanagan kid. He seems to be a spark that this team really needs. He's a walk-on, but I think before too long he'll be granted a scholarship. He's earned it. So I say to Shocker Nation, keep your head up. We still have a long season. We have conference play around on the horizon. I believe we can make some noise in the conference. That's why you play these non-conference games, so you can get the bugs worked out. Well, it is time for me to step out of the zone, but I hope you have enjoyed being in the zone. And I will be back again next week with some more of In the Zone with Anthony, one of the best podcasts throughout the state of Kansas. Like I say, give me some feedback. Tell me what you think. I would be glad to hear from you. Like I said, I will be reaching out to some guests, possibly next week. Have some guests on. We will talk some Shocker basketball and see what the fan base is actually saying. So until the next time, always stay in the zone. This is yours truly, Anthony Smith. God bless. I'm out.